if we talk about the nervous system and the fascia, and we've talked about like being chronically stressed and being in that flight or fight state, even like I think everyone in America probably is mostly in a flight or fight state, right? And so even if you're just like mildly in it and like it doesn't really affect you because you're so used to it, your whole cellophane wrapped fascia is tense. And because your fascia is tense, that's going to make you more tense, and it's this vicious cycle. So when we work on the fascia and we release, we're also affecting our ability to be more calm. I thought that was really cool. Okay, so we're going to do some fascial work. So sit up in your seat, your eyes closed. Close your eyes and begin to turn your awareness inward. So like 20 years ago when they were studying how the body works, so recently, right? Just 20 years ago, everyone thought it was all like muscles and bones. And they would just cut away the fascia, all the extra stuff, and they would just throw it into the garbage can to get to the muscles and the bones. And now they're learning that this fascia system is like so intelligent. It's where our lymph system is. So it has to do with like our immune system, our nervous system. So it has to do with like our ability to regulate our emotions and like the way we're connected and feel in our body. So crazy that this thing that's like so important was just discarded. It makes me think of all the things that might be going on in my life currently that I'm just like throwing in the garbage and like not paying attention to. You could imagine if you were wearing like overalls or a one-piece bikini, and one-piece bathing suit. If someone grabbed your like upper straps and pulled up, it would give you a wedgie. That's the same idea with fascia. Restriction in one area of the body shows up in completely different parts of the body. So one of these links is the muscles of the pelvic floor. So we have our pelvis and then those muscles that come inside of our pelvis, and they hold all of our organs, our internal organs, our muscles, like it holds us up. Those are really important muscles that tend to be chronically tight. And those muscles through fascia are connected to the jaw. Also another area that we tend to grip and bite down when we get chronically tight, like TMJ. And it both in the pelvic floor, so the pelvic bones, and in the skull, the cranial bones, there's these little parts of fascia or connective tissue that hold many bones together. And when you breathe, if you do a full inhale, see if you can feel the breath come down into the pelvic bowl. And as you inhale, the sutras, the connective tissue of the pelvic bones, open and expand. And then as you breathe up your inhale, also the cranium bones expand. And then as you exhale, release. It's been proven that these bones expand when we do full inhales. Seeing if you can sense that inhale, breathing deep into the pelvic bowl, feeling the pelvis expand, and then breathing up the spine, seeing if you can feel the skull expand. Breathing like this helps the cerebral spinal fluid in our spinal column to become more fluid, more communicative, so that our nervous system can be less stuck in stress mode. Now draw your hands up in front of your heart. May we stay with the sensations that come up and be with ourselves in the present moment. If you want to add another intention, you could do that now. And then take your two peace fingers to your jaw. So as the jaw goes up, it meets with the cheekbone, and there's like a little angle right there. So go right there with either one or two fingers and just push in. Do little circles. You might notice instantly one side tighter than the other. Notice or not notice that everything's okay. As you make circles, observe where there's more sensation. We're moving towards that sensation. Find a place where you can hold pressure. So the fingers stop circling and they push in. You might push in and then kind of pull in one direction, toward the ceiling, towards your ears, towards the floor, towards your mouth. Whatever push and pull direction feels sensational. You can also do a little bit of movement with your chin, your lower jaw. Beginning to affect this fascia, and remembering the power that when we're affecting one place of fascia, we're affecting so many different parts of our body. Really nice, then back out the pressure, do little circles again. And we're gonna go down to our jaw, right below the angle of our jaw by our chin. And we're gonna start going up, like walking up. Just walking up to all the way below your ear hole. I'm moving on my earlobe and then walking back down. Observing what areas are kind of calling out to you for your attention. You might walk your fingers a little bit more back, like behind your jaw, even up here. And then as you're walking, you're gonna find a place to hang out. So walking over to one of those more sensational areas, pushing in more firmly with your fingers, maybe putting some resistance in a certain direction if that feels good to you. And then maintaining the pressure, come back to your breath. See if you can do that inhale where your pelvic bowl expands and then all the way up into your skull expands. You could experiment with moving your chin around or hang. And again, to walk your fingers up and down. And we'll do one more. So you're going to take your index fingers almost into your ear holes, but not plugging. And then you're going to take your thumbs right underneath your earlobes, maybe all the way up. So you're just going to walk in this little area where the skull starts to connect onto the jaw. And you're going to walk around a little bit with your thumbs until you find a place. This place is so tight on me, it almost makes me feel nauseous. Let your jaw be relaxed. And you move the jaw around. If any of these places really stand out to you, maybe try to integrate more massage into your day. And then kind of stroke the face. Okay, really nice. And then bring your right hand down to the floor, stretch your left arm up and over. And come push yourself back up and over to the left. Just at your own time. And we're going to start to explore the range of the side. So normally when you put your hand on the floor, you put it kind of far back. So as you change sides, start to walk your hand up the side of your yoga mat so it turns it a little bit into a forward fold as you stretch across and lean forward, and then walk it a little bit back. On your next inhale, stretch both of your arms up towards the sky. Push down through your hips. Exhale, bring your hands back down. All right, we're going to transfer over into table. Hips just a little bit behind the knees, hands just a little in front of the shoulders. And then begin to move intuitively. So just breathe and shift around. I think it feels good to wag out my hips from one side to the other, taking the opposite shoulder forward towards the ear as an idea, or I'll rotate my belly button in a circle. You could play with those spinal rolls, shifting the hips slightly back towards the heels, pulling the low belly up towards the spine as you inhale up through the heart, head comes forward. Exhale, belly pulls into the spine as the hips go back. So that's one way you can prevent low back pain if it hurts on the back bend, is as you exhale into the hips back, the belly button lifts to protect the spine. And eventually let your movements carry you up into downward facing dog. Walking up the legs. And then walk the feet all the way forward to the hands. Take lots of steps. So lots of steps will help you get more into your hamstrings. Then when you get to the top of the yoga mat, put a little bend in your knees. On your inhale, take your hands to your thighs and stretch your spine forward. You can unroll the spine here. And then as you exhale, bow down, belly to thighs, chest to knees, head toward shins. Inhale, hands to thighs, halfway extend. Exhale, soften down. Last one, inhale, extend. Right, stay here. With your hips going back and your chest is a little lifted, stretch your right arm forward and then stretch your right arm over to the left. And stick your left hip over to the left. You can play with using your left hand to push into your leg if you'd like. And then we'll go the other direction. The right hand comes to your upper right thigh, left arm stretches up and over, right hip kind of sticks out to the right. And come back through center, and then come up to standing. Do a little lift and drop of your heels. And see if you can feel that rebound of movement up towards your head. So you can notice where it stops. Okay. Really nice. Oh, I forgot to say, we're going to use, if you guys don't have them, do you guys have balls nearby? Awesome. Christina, you have your ball? I think you do. Okay, so we're going to start with the right foot. So put your ball on the floor. If you could be next to a wall to balance. That's how I normally do it because I'm in the eye. Balance is a fleeting thing for me. We'll put the right foot on the ball and just begin to roll around. See if you can roll the ball over the whole foot. And as you do, you're looking for the parts of your foot that are talking to you more. My inner arch tends to talk to me a lot. And then through this investigation, we're going to end up finding two spots to land on. Find a spot that's like underneath the ball of your foot, like right there. This is where the heart area is. I'm going to bow there on your ball, heel on the floor, and then you can rock on or rock off. So your foot stays in the same place, but you can shift more weight onto the ball or less. And then if you have the balance, if you want more, you can take your left heel and put it on. You can wiggle your toes around, your right toes. So this is helping roll out the plantar fascia. Plantar is like the bottom, so the fascia that starts at the bottom of the foot that then comes up and wraps the entire body. Okay, take some weight off, roll around a little bit. Now we're gonna find the spot under, like just above the heel. So here the heel will be off the ground, ball of the foot will be on the ground. And you can rock a little bit, find your pressure. You can also add the heel if it helps. Yes, and then rock around, hit the inner edge again. So good. Okay, then stand with the feet on the floor. Soften your eyes. And see if you can tell a difference between legs. My right leg, my whole self feels so much more connected. It feels like there's one channel from my foot up to my head, where my left side feels more like separate. Do you guys have that experience? And now we'll do the left foot. I need to say hello. And we'll go for that towards the ball of the foot one. Figuring out how much weight you want to rock forward onto it, maybe stepping the right heel up there. Depending on how stiff your calf is, you can get a calf stretch by pushing the left heel down towards the floor and tipping the left knee forward. And then some more strokes. I'll go into that just above the heel spot. I like to put my ball of the foot on the floor, kind of like I'm standing on high heels. Maybe wiggling the toes a little bit, seeing if you can lift or move the left toes. Really nice. And then stepping off of or some more strokes. Then stepping off of the ball, both feet on the floor. Inhale, stretch your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to table. Exhale, press back, child's pose. Inhale, come back up to table. Extend your right leg out to the right. Spin your right foot down, so all four corners of the right foot are on the floor, right toes facing up towards you. Little bend in your right knee. Walk your hands a little bit forward like downward facing dog, and then begin to push your hips back. Think about lifting your sitting bones up to the sky and pushing the top of your femurs into your hamstrings. You could come down onto your forearms, or you can sit more back towards your heel. So this is kind of like a half child's pose, half, leg extended. So find somewhere in that range to hang out and breathe. Right, come back up to table, and then switch your legs, bring the right knee in, left leg out, left foot down and anchored. And then walking back towards an angle like downward facing dog, lift your sit bones up, push your thighs back. So you're becoming more aware of this moment. Something I've been liking working with fascia is the stretch is a really nice physical feeling to help me stay present. We're using what you can, your awareness, to land on some kind of thing in the moment. So it might be your breath, or you're feeling your tactile sensation, maybe coming down to the forearms or pushing the hips back towards the right heel. Nice. Inhale, come forward back to table. And as you exhale, lower down to your belly. Strong legs, inhale. Pull yourself into cobra. Another option always, I don't say it, but you can always come to your forearms and pull this way. Elbows pull back, maybe a little shimmy. And then exhale, come down. Rest on your upper palms. Right, and we're gonna roll over to our right side. Pull your knees in. Your knees up so your shins are parallel to the yoga mat, or if you prefer to keep your legs straight. We'll start with a quad stretch, reaching your left hand back for the right foot. And just pulling the heel into the bum. Draw the left shoulder up and back so the shoulder is moving away from your chest. Push your knee away from your hip. And maybe experiment with where your knee is in space. Maybe move it forward or down or up. See if you can find a slight change in position brings on a more delicious stretch. You can stay here or straighten your back arm, make your back arm strong, and then begin to kick your foot into your hand. Sometimes I have to take my right hand down and try to hold on so I don't kick myself over. Nice, release the leg. Then grab it again at the knee and draw the knee in some circle, a little circle. Take your circle in the other direction. All right, and then either holding on to the knee or reaching up for the foot, begin to straighten the leg. Rotate the pelvis away from you, like you're sticking your butt out towards the wall behind you as you push out through the lifted foot. And come back to your breath. Be interested in this expansion in the pelvis and the skull. Breathing down into the ball of the pelvis, feeling the expansion traveling up the spine, feeling the sutras of the cranial bones expand. Really nice. Release your leg. And then roll over to your other side. Or spin around. We'll start with our quad stretch. Peel the right shoulder away from the ear. Push the knee away from the hip. And maybe taking little movements to find where the leg is asking to be stretched. You can also find it by internally rotating the leg, but you want to remember that the leg, the thigh bone, and the shin move in one unit, so you're not torquing the knee. You can kind of lift the heel up and tip the inner thigh in, or vice versa, to find a more specific quad area to stretch. Really nice, release that. Point the knee into the sky. Oh, I forgot, let's kick the foot. Hold the foot, kick it into your hand. Nice. Pull it back in. Then release, grab onto the knee. Draw your knee in some circles. See if you can make your leg more like a noodle. So instead of you doing this movement with a lot of the muscles of the hips, see if you can do this movement more with your hand. Take it in the other direction. Awesome. Then hold on to the knee or the foot. Straighten the leg. You might curl the pelvis under and not under, so you can find your direction and then continue to uncurl it. So pushing your bottom behind you. Push out through the leg. The fascia at the foot, so we're holding our right foot. The fascia that's underneath our fingers runs up the back of the leg to about behind our belly button and then crosses, goes to the opposite shoulder. So now the fascia comes from the right hip to the left shoulder and then down to the left hand. And also like up and above our head to our eyebrows. Crazy. Okay, release the foot. Really nice. Come roll over onto your back. On your back, pull your knees in, or rock side to side. And then open your arms up like a T, but keep rotating your knees from one side to the other. And some spinal twists. You can aim your knees a little bit more low or more up towards your chest to roll out different parts of your glutes. And then bring your feet back to the floor. Find your ball and let both of your knees come over to your right. And we're going to put the ball right under the hip when the knees are to the right. So it's like right in the gluteal area, and you might need to move it around or put it a few different times and find a place where it feels more sensational. Like I'll bring my knees to center, place the ball under one glute, bring my knees over to the side, and then I'll come back to center and I'll replace the ball under the same one and kind of work it towards an area that my body's asking me to be at. And then when I find it, I'm going to stay there. Let both knees rock over to the side. Eyes closed. I was reading the definition of pain the other day, and I'm forgetting word by word, but it's something like pain is a high level of sensation that causes a motor reflex to recoil. Like if you touch a hot stove, the pain in your fingers causes you to pull your hand away. Let's switch sides. So bring the knees back out to center. Switch the ball to the other side and then like move your legs around until you find a place that you want it to stay. So that's really interesting that it says pain causes a motor reflex to move away. So when we do this ball work, when we do this fascia release work, we don't move into pain where your body's like trying to recoil and move away from it. It's just really high sensation. Really nice as you inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Move your block or your ball. Push into your feet. Let your hips lift up into bridge. Arms can be by the side. The hands could be supporting the hips with the hands or the elbows on the floor, or the arms can stretch up over the head. And then lower the hips down. We'll do 2 more. Inhale, push up. Lengthen the knees forward. Maybe rock your hips a little bit, letting one drop and the other knee push out. And then lower down. Let your knees tip together, feet a little wide, and just be still. So check in with where your body feels like it's at, what it might be asking for. This is really empowering because we learn to pay attention to ourselves and figure out what's a yes for us and what's a no for us. And then when we're off the mat, we can have those boundaries of knowing what feels right and not. And we're going to do 1 more, bringing your knees above your feet. Inhale, push through your feet, lift your hips up. Stay here. If it feels like it would be a yes for your body, you can walk your heels in. I have to use my hands and kind of pull them up. People, not everyone are going to love this on their knees. Then you push your knees forward, maybe even walk them, push them forward one at a time. That can be a pretty fantastic quad stretch if it feels good in your joints. And then unwalk your feet. If they're walked in, lift your hips up and then lower down. Knock your knees together again. We're going to take we'll take 10 breaths. All count, so you don't need to. And you can decide if you want to stay here in stillness with your knees not together, or if there's something else, some other way that you would like to stretch or move for just a few moments before we move on. Then make your way over to your side as you're ready. And then pushing yourself all the way up, seated to the front of the mat. You sit in a little meditation. You can practice dropping into your experience. This is kind of like scuba diving. You could think about meditation as scuba diving. I don't know if you scuba dive, Gina, but I know Christina's a scuba diver lover. It's this like ability, and it takes training. How deep can you go within yourself, within your sensations, while keeping harmony and equilibrium? As let your eyes start to open, I'm noticing the effect that working with the fascia. I find that when I work like more specifically with the fascial layer, I feel like I get more calm. Okay, so we're gonna take our ball again. Let me tip my camera down. And we're gonna just use the ball. So I've never heard anyone use it this way, but it's my new favorite way to use the ball. So you just hold it with your pressure from your flat palm, and then you roll the ball around. So let's start on the top of the foot. You can kind of work the metatarsals, connect to your knee, flip out and work your inner arch. I'll cue what I'm doing, but I do want you to feel like you can move off and do your own thing as it calls for you. It's not go up your inner ankle, inner heel. That's like a really nice place around that malleolus. Right here at the front of the ankle, this is like a major lymph node. So you can kind of pull some of the energy and lymph from the foot up there. So the lymph I talked about lives in the fascia. Go over to the outer foot, around the outer ankle. The lymph lives in the fascia. We have more lymph in our body than we do blood, way more lymph. But the blood has an advantage because it's connected to our heart. Now begin to turn the foot over and do the sole of the foot. So the heart pumps the blood up and down the body, but the lymph doesn't. The only way the lymph can move is through movement. So it's a fun reason to move your body in weird ways. Okay, now we're gonna get there's like, here's your tibia bone. It's like where you cut shaving. So you don't need to get that, but there's muscles on either side of that that can feel nice to get. In your own time, do the muscles on either side of the tibia, especially as it comes up and joins onto the knee. If we had more time or we were going to do this slower, you could come up here and just do this. And when you find one of those sensational areas, like push into it or find a way that you can apply pressure with gravity into it. Switching over to the other side if you haven't yet. Whew. On the upper inner side, you get some of the gastrocnemius, the upper calf muscle that comes over and attaches to the knee. Putting the heel kind of out in front of you on the floor so you have access to the back of the calf. I don't know how to switch hands or use both hands. Let's find a place on the outer or on the back of the calf or anywhere that you felt like a lot of sensation that you remember. Bring the ball to that place and find a way to apply direct pressure to the muscle, preferably in a way that doesn't make your whole body tense. If you can find a way to do it through gravity, like doing it on the floor, it can be nice because you can practice being more relaxed. Or even if I use my hands to squeeze it in, I just feel more tension coming into my system. Really nice. Do some goodbye rubs. And then we're going to come up into our knee joint. We're going to put the ball right behind the back of the right knee and pull it up and into that socket to bring some space to the front of the knee. And this is similar to, I think you both have done this with me, where we roll up a blanket and put it between our knees and then sit on our shins. So it's like one at a time. And these kind of things feel like they hurt in the beginning, like it feels painful, but the more you do it, the more the body realizes that it's not something that hurts you, it's actually something that makes you feel better. So then your body looks forward to doing these poses, these things that can feel kind of torturous because they know how it releases the whole system. So your body starts to crave it. Okay, switch sides. We'll begin to massage the opposite foot. This time I'll let you guide yourself more. So we'll start with the foot. I'll tell you when to move on to the front of the leg. Notice the speed the mind and your hand are moving. See if you can do it a little bit calmer, a little bit slower. Beginning to wrap up the foot and make your way up the leg. And if you feel your mind drift off, see if you can get more curious, not in understanding like how things work, just more in the sensations. We're going to work your way towards the back of the leg, the calf. Finding a spot somewhere on one of the places you've already massaged that feels like it would love a little bit more attention, and apply some direct pressure to it. Really nice, and some goodbye rolls. And then making your ball come up to behind the knees, getting it in between those tendons. There's a muscle back here called the popliteus. It's a band of connective tissue that helps pop the knee out every time you walk. That tends to hold a lot of tension. Excuse me. You can flex your left foot up and down a little bit and engage those muscles. That can change some feelings back there. Really nice. And then release. Let's cross the left leg over the right and then walk the hands down. If you have pillows or something around, you could like put a pillow so you can try to be more relaxed in the forward fold. Maybe crossing your arms and shimmying one shoulder up at a time. And then seeing if you can bring your awareness back to your breath, this inhale that comes down and expands the pelvis muscles, goes up the spine and expands the skull muscles, or the skull bones. Then walk your hands back up center. Switch legs. And fold down. We've been talking about for a few weeks now this like welcoming all parts of ourself. All parts of ourself belong. Nothing needs to be pushed away or exiled or made better. Just all of it's welcomed, which is really similar to the fascia, the idea that it wraps around everything. Nice, walk yourself back up. Let's open the legs wide. Toes and knees face up to the sky, maybe pulling the flesh away from the booty or sticking a blanket under you. Knees up, fingertips on the floor, lean back a little bit. As we move into our wide leg forward fold, try to not think about what it looks like from the outside, but what it feels like from the inside, and find a place based on how it feels from the inside to stay. So you might choose to be back here. Could shift forward a little bit. You could stack some things so you're more comfortable. But coming into your forward fold. I think it can be really nice to have something for the forehead to rest on. Be finding a way to position your hands so that your forehead is grounded in some way. You might feel your body start to move a little bit. And this time, see if you can be more still. Sometimes we can move listening to the body, kind of stretching intuitively, and sometimes our body just has a hard time being in stillness. So seeing if you can find that balance between listening to the body and moving it, but also being able to be still, even when there's a lot of sensations. Maybe reminding your brain that it's not pain, or we're not looking for pain for this place where we have to fight against the urge to come out, but more just lots of sensations. So walk your hands back up, all the way back up, sit and notice. And then use your hands to pull the leg muscles or the knees together. Knees upright, soles of the feet on the floor. Wrap yourself up, head to your knees. Right, and then come up to a seated posture, facing me. We're going to use the blocks one more time, or again. And we're going to get the upper neck muscles, so the traps that connect onto the back of the skull. They connect all the way up here. When we've done this massage before with our thumbs, we're getting those occipital ridge muscles, parts of the fascial work, and everything from the upper body attaches. And then we're going to go down and out to the shoulders. So taking your hand, moving your neck. I'm doing like that hello. Stretch. And if you feel like you want to just stop at a place, you can. Let me go thinking that there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. It's going to be really dependent on you and your body. So just finding a place where you feel like your body goes, ah, yes, like I've been waiting for you to find this place. If you apply pressure, you can move your head around a little bit so you get some pin and lengthening going on. And then do some goodbye rolls to that side of your neck and come on to the other. I normally end up using my right hand to roll out both sides because my arm's just so much more coordinated. Maybe finding a place to hold the ball into the side of the neck, of the upper traps. Just move the head around. Really nice. And then some goodbye stretches or rolls. Oh, And then we'll come into an upright twist. Well, let's point the left knee forward, or you can extend the left leg forward. Cross your right knee over the left foot over on the outer side of the right hip. Right, both of your sit bones on the floor. Sit nice and tall, shoulders broad and relaxed. And breathe in and out and follow the breath. I like to think about my spine like a beaker, like that there'd be in a science lab. And as I inhale, the beaker gets filled up from the bottom to the top. As I exhale, it goes back down. It's at the bottom, the pelvis expands all the way up to the skull. Exhale back down. Next time you breathe in, lengthen and twist to the right, either hug or elbow away the right knee. And use your right hand pushing into the floor to keep length up your spine and keep breathing from the bottom to the top, softening. We inhale, unwind, and switch sides. When you're ready, inhale and twist over to the left. Inhale, unwind. Nice fingertips behind your back, windshield wiper the legs. And then make your way all the way down to your back. Or I guess before I say that, see if you can find a strap nearby. Or you can just hold on to your leg. We'll do some work with the strap. Let's see. Yeah. So strap up your right foot. Left foot forward, heel on the ground. And with the strap on your right foot, bring your right foot forward. And pull from your foot up into your hip. So your hip is grounding into your hip socket and you're pushing out through your right foot. And then shimmy the strap so the strap comes more up towards the ball of the foot than the heel. And steady pressure with your hands pulling the toes towards your knee. And then put a little bend in your knee, push out through your heel. Actually, yeah. And then bend your right knee, walk your hands up the strap, widen your right knee and pull your right knee down towards the floor on the outside of your right chest. You can also reach up with your hands and hold your right foot, pulling the right knee down, keeping the left heel of the foot and the left thigh bone, left butt pushing down into the floor. Hold both of the straps in the right hand. Left hand comes on the left hip or opens up to the side. Begin to push out through the right foot until the right leg is more straight. You can play with taking the right leg a little bit lower so it's more in line with your hip.
or bending your elbow and pulling your foot more up towards your ear. Sometimes I'll take my left hand across my body and hold on to the straps and then pull it more up to find an angle I want to continue to hold the strap at. As you inhale, cross the strap, your foot halfway across your body. So your foot stops while your right hip is still on the floor. It will lift up maybe a little bit. And again, bring your heel a little bit more towards your left toes and your toes more up towards your head. Going up and down and finding where you feel the stretch the most. And then staying there. Engage your left leg and turn your outer left hip in, inner left thigh towards the floor. That internal rotation of the bottom leg can add more of a stretch to the outer hip. Right, now we're going to go all the way into the twist, letting the right leg cross the body, going to the pinky toe side of the left foot. Open up the right arm. And then release the strap, bend your right knee, put your left hand on the top of your right knee. Stay here or bend your bottom leg, your left leg, reach down with your right hand for the quad stretch. And as you inhale, release your legs, roll back over to your back. Circle your knees around. And then lay down flat on your back. Notice how it feels from the sole of your right foot all the way up your body, maybe even across your back to your left arm. See if you can notice any difference between the back of the left leg up and over to your right arm. And then we'll do the second side, strapping up the left foot, taking the left foot forward at a pretty low angle. Working the strap up more towards the ball of the foot to get the calf stretch. This is the main position. I like to have my strap up higher. Normally for the other parts, my strap ends up migrating back to the middle of my foot. Toes pull back, heel pushes forward. Then lift the foot up and the knee. Right leg stays straight, knee pulls down to the floor, sole of the foot straight up to the sky. Think about untucking your left hip. So try to push the left butt down to the floor as you pull the left knee down to the floor, getting into the hamstrings. All right, and then holding the strap, straighten the leg. Hold both straps in the right hand, cross your leg halfway over. Move the foot down or up. And find the stretch you're going to stay with, the sensation you're going to be interested in. Notice how that sensation changes as you breathe. And then take the twist all the way over to the right, rotate onto the pinky toe of the right foot. So if you can just open to the idea of releasing a little bit of this chronic tension that's held in the fibers right below our skin, and the jaw and the pelvic floor and the forehead. You just not have to hold so much. Really nice. Release the strap. Bend the left knee. Right hand comes to the top of the left knee. Stay here or bend the bottom leg. The right leg, reach down with the left hand for the quad stretch. And make some little movements here and see if you can find a little movement that adds a stretch in a different place. So you're following this stretchy sensation. It's like and then as you do it more, you find this joy in the stretchy sensation. And then your practice can be at times this following the joy stretch. Really nice. When you're ready, release. Come back onto your back. Roll your knees around a little bit. Keep the soles of the feet on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. We'll do a supta pigeon. Wrap your arms around. I'll give you a few options for pigeon. So you can either stay in this variation, or with your hands wrapped around the back of your left hamstring, you can straighten the left leg. And also reach up with both of your hands and hold more up to the left shin. I just want to be careful that you're not hyperextending the left leg. Really nice. Switch sides. Left foot crosses over right knee. Knee pulls in. You can stay here, or you can move into the hamstring options. Straightening the right leg, maybe working the hands up higher. But don't choose the pose that from the outside looks the most challenging. Choose the one that feels like it's giving your body something that it's been wanting. Really nice. And release your legs. Pull your knees in again. And we'll do happy baby, so holding onto the knees or reaching up and holding the feet. You can hold this happy baby still, or you can move around a little bit. There's no wrong movement. It's just following inner pandiculation, that stretch that occurs almost naturally. And then when you feel ready, stretch your legs forward and your arms back. Full body stretch. And eventually making your way to wide legs, wide arms, palms up for Shavasana. We're not going to be in the Shavasana very long. See if you can, not in a rushed way, just in an efficient way,
drop in, release all the holding. The holding of thoughts and ideas and resentments and past experiences and future hopes and future fears, and just let yourself be in this moment. Ready to bring more focus to your breath and let your breath eventually inspire movement through your body. Let that movement eventually bring you upright. Go slowly, linger. Eventually, when you get up to your seat, before we close, we're just gonna roll out the glutes really quick. So I'm not gonna use a ball because that seems too intense after being more restful. But pull your knees in and rock over to one side on your hands or your glutes. If you wanted, you could add the ball. Then do the other side. And find your way up into a seat. And take some full breaths and just observe how you feel. And it's okay if the answer is not great or good or okay. And it doesn't need to be put into words. It's just like checking in and just noticing. And noticing if there feels to be more ease in new places because of the work we did. And draw your hands in front of your heart, let your head drop. And thank yourself for showing up and giving yourself this time. And I think it's extra important to acknowledge to yourself for showing up, even when the showing up is slowing down. Because I think I can speak for all of us that we're more comfortable in doing more and being faster and staying busier and like all of those things. And a slow practice would necessarily be our preference or wasn't in the past. So thanking yourself for taking the time to slow down and do less. Namaste.
Thank you, Kim, so much. I feel so much